Women's ERG along with Jennifer McGuire. And I'd also like to give a shout out just as we get rolling to Christine Hyde. She's one of the Women's ERG impact leaders, and she really spearheaded organizing this event. All right, so we are so fortunate. Sue Yannaccone, she is here, our president and CEO of Anywhere Brands, and she's going to be leading the conversation. I'm going to introduce our panelists, and then Sue will share a few words and kick us off in the discussion. So we have with us Amy Hummer, a broker owner with Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate, Steinborn and Associates. Also on our panel, Claudia Acevedo, Century 21 Lotus. We have Jacqueline Garcia, Coldwell Banker Home Lovers Realty, Sarah Ellis, Corcoran Classic Living, and Jamila Winsey, ERA Legacy Living. So with that, Sue, let me hand the mic over to you.
Thank you so much, Wendy, and the entire team for putting this together and bringing such an amazing group of powerful women entrepreneurs to this group today to share their journey and for celebrating and continuing our celebration of Women's History Month. I think, as you all know, obviously, women in leadership is both a personal passion of mine, but also one that I have continued to focus on, you know, obviously within my own career, but also really importantly, leveraging how we can focus on developing and empowering more women leaders within our industry. And I think, you know, we've done a great job and we'll continue to do that of highlighting leaders. But what we, you know, and what we do once we're there and all of these things, but we thought what would be really interesting is to share the journey of several very successful female broker owners and their path to that leadership position and things they've experienced along the way. I'm often asked that, right? What were your challenges or obstacles? And I think it's just really important to get that perspective from others. Because as we all know, or at least we all learn, we may not all come out of the gates knowing it. The path to leadership is not a straight one. And it's certainly not an easy one. And our journeys all differ. And we all come to the table with different perspectives and different challenges and obstacles. But we can certainly help each other learn from all of those. And so as we're digging in today and listening to these amazing, accomplished women, you know, think about the kind of the tie between something you may hear and how it relates to your own journey, or how you can think about how they've overcome or accomplished or thought through a challenging scenario, and apply that to your own journey of growth and path to leadership. And for those of you joining in that are already in, you know, leadership roles, we all are in some form or fashion at some level in our life. We're also never done learning. And so I'm excited to learn from others on this call, as I do every time I have the honor of getting together with an amazing group of women across all different levels of our industry and stages of their careers. We're never done learning, so let's dig in. Let's do this. I am going to obviously ask some questions and guide the conversation, but this is also for all of you that are on here. Type a question in the chat. We do have time for Q&A. We can, you know, save some time for the end or pop in throughout, but definitely raise your hand or ask questions of myself, or importantly, while you have these amazing leaders of the women on our panel. So let's jump right in and get started, shall we? First, I'll thank each of our individual women once again for taking time out of your days to give back, because that's really what this is all about, and what moves her and our, you know, Women's Employee Resource Group. That's what it's all about. And so I thank you for giving generously of your time to this audience today. So I'm going to start with a question, and I think I'll start today with our friend Jamila. Where are you? I don't see your face, but I know you're on. I think I saw you some there. So welcome today for being on, coming with us from Texas, to us from Texas. So You and I, of course, have had our own conversations in the past about your journey to leadership, but I'd love to know, and as with the team, what barriers have you faced on your path to being a broker owner? And as you think about those barriers, how did you overcome them to run the successful business you run today?
Thank you, Sue, and thank you everyone for having me. Really, definitely honored to be on this panel with these amazing women. And Sue, you already know I am a huge fan. So, but no, it has been very interesting. I started to think about the journey, and I think from a moment of transparency, what was most revealing to me as a female-owned brokerage here in Houston was really the imposter syndrome. I think we all have it as leaders, but we don't get to put it out there. We had a lot of challenges opening, from Harvey to steering um, to to just a whole lot of things, and it took us 2 years to open. But the biggest one, I think, was a challenge with myself and wanting to understand and to really put myself out there and ask the question, will they follow? Will they take this leadership? Will they see this vision and go with you? And that was the biggest mental barrier outside of the physical barriers we faced. And we opened our brokerage after 2 years of really just going through a lot of challenges. Like I mentioned, it was in the middle of Harvey. We had agents and in furniture stores and Starbucks, and trying to recruit and having a little bit of that disbelief or belief in myself, a limited belief in myself. But really, the way that I overcame that was really to understand my why. And for me, I spent a lot of time really thinking about why I wanted to be a broker owner and why I wanted to open up a brokerage. And for me, it was about people. I've always been the type of person that invested in people. I've always been the type of person, I always say my superpower is bringing out the best out of people and inspiring them. And I just stuck with that. And from there, we were able to grow a very, very diverse brokerage, but really being authentic to myself and to my leadership. And so that was really the biggest thing for us. But what that did was create a culture of collaboration and a culture of diversity. And it's, onward and forward since then.
I love that. And I will try and refrain from popping in too much with my own perspective, but I literally, the imposter syndrome thing is so real, and believing in yourself is so critical to success. And I shared with somebody on my team the other day that I had a moment recently where I had imposter syndrome, and she's like, come on. And I was like, no, like there are moments that you have to like check yourself a little bit. And those are growth moments and opportunities. And I thought it was, she thanked me for sharing it, because she sort of felt that I would never have that feeling. And so what I think is most important is how you overcome that, like you said. And I think that's amazing. So Sarah, I'm going to ask you the same question. I don't see, there you are. And coming to us from Georgia, what barriers have you overcome in becoming a broker owner, and how have you overcome them?
Hi, thank you so much for having me. And I'm honored to be on this panel as well. And Jamila, your words sank just right on in there. They were beautiful. And I think that highlighting imposter syndrome is so critically important, and something that was so not talked about for the beginning of my career, for sure. I was thinking about this question, and I started my firm as an independent firm when I was 26, I think, with 3 years in the business, and kind of ended up as the broker by being voluntold to be the broker, because I was viewed to have the least liability as a single woman who really didn't have much to lose. And so I really don't know exactly what barriers to entry I had, whether it was my inexperience or being female or being young. But kind of another layer to my journey has been that I'm in a small southern town that where a lot of the other people in business are multi-generational or have been passed down, or their dads grew up here, or and the seats at the table were offered to them, just automatically without any regard for opening up to somebody new. And so I felt like the first maybe 15 years of my career were just like trying to kind of claw my way into the environment, into the business environment in this town. And this just doesn't feel good, right? When you're always kind of feeling like you're 2 steps behind. As I've gotten more confident, I think that the authenticity that comes with confidence has really helped to make me feel more included into the business community, and to just be more respected. And so if I could say that kind of that shift comes with confidence, and that's just not something that came without a lot of hard work and a lot of proven track records.
Yeah, I bet there's a lot of, I see heads nodding and agreement. And I think that's, you know, the marketplace in which you choose to, or be voluntold to start your business, or take something over, also has a significant impact on your journey and your path and your experience. And, you know, all of that informs as you grow into that, and confidence, you know, as you build that, certainly helps along the way, but we don't always all start out with it, right? As we're hearing, and that's really, that's equally important to realize. So I'm going to shift a little bit. I'm going to go to Jacqueline and Candace, and I'll start with you, Jacqueline. You know, what influenced your decision? I'm super curious from my seat, because we've not had this conversation. You know, were there things specifically that influenced your decision to affiliate with one of our brands, to when you were thinking about your brokerage or expanding it? You know, who to kind of align with in that process? And you're on mute. I'll just grab you.
Okay, no worries. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, gotcha.
Good, fantastic. So thank you so much for having me on the panel. I'm truly honored to be on this panel. I think there's a lot of powerful women here. Let's flex, girls. Come on, let's flex. Okay, but you know, I had a position at Coldwell Banker Anywhere before starting this brokerage. So as I was a coach and an I-Leads director for the Coldwell Banker corporate side. So not only was I aware of Coldwell Banker's initiative and preoccupation with amplifying marginal voices, but I had really come to love the process of the work that Coldwell Banker had, their ethics, their training, and their philosophy. So the idea of attempting to apply for a franchise with Coldwell Banker not only gave me a lot of preliminary moral clarity to go and be a business owner, but the security that I know that their process works. Then after the fact, I realized that Coldwell Banker will support my demographics by helping me significantly with the startup costs. So yeah, that really warmed me up to the idea and applying for the franchise, of course. So it was scary. And, you know, I have a lot of friends in this business that know that I always say, be fierce, right? But be, as one of my good friends, Ruth says, be fearless. And I got to tell you, it was scary, but I knew that I was backed up by a very powerful company. And I am so proud to be here today and be able to tell every single agent on this call that if it happened for me, it can happen for you. And trust me, it's not going to be easy at first, but later on it does become seamless because the leadership training was so amazing. And I am so grateful to everyone that helped me along the way. So yeah, I love my franchise, and I love the fact that I applied and got it. So thank you.
Oh, I love hearing that. And I love your energy and passion as always. And of course, as our friend Ruth down in Florida will tell us, always be fearless, right? One of my favorite people down there sharing with us those mantras constantly to keep us moving forward. And I'm really proud of the work that the company has done Anywhere, both on behalf of our company and our employees, but also on behalf of entrepreneurs, You know, I'm in this business because I love helping people achieve their dreams and take that spark of interest to something so much more and create that opportunity for you individually and for your family. So I love that we are able to do that, and that that just makes me, you know, and it just makes me very happy to hear. So thank you. How about you, Candace? What, you know, what attracted you, or what did you think about along the same lines when thinking about opportunities of brands and that type of thing?
Absolutely. And thank you so much, Sue, and all of the amazing panelists for having me today. I'm Candace McEwen with Century 21 Excel, and I have to go after you, Jacqueline. So I need to get my energy going here. One of the main attraction points for me was the support. From the local level, my partner, Tim Williams, very, very supportive and showed me what the Anywhere brand, the umbrella of Anywhere, combined with Century 21, what they can do to support myself as well as my agent. So I started off as an independent broker owner, grew the company with partners. So I have to give them a shout out. We had about 300 agents in 7 locations within a span of 5 years. And what we found was 85% of all of us were the same demographic. We kind of looked the same. So I was looking for an opportunity for us to have diversity and to have support with that diversity. Mike Meadler, the amazing CEO of Century 21, actually came down to have lunch with myself and the leadership team. And when he advised us that he was a part of the NARAB, National Association of Real Estate Brokers, who is such a great advocate for fair housing, which is a passion of mine, and I saw the passion in his eyes, I knew that I had to be affiliated and aligned with Century 21 and Anywhere. The support is absolutely amazing and exactly what I was looking for.
I love that. And I see Jamila shaking your head, nodding your head, I should say, in agreement. So, well, I wasn't going to ask you specifically, you know, similar thoughts, similar perspectives in evaluating the opportunity with ERA?
No, absolutely. I completely concur with Candace. I didn't mention earlier, we were previously affiliated with a different brand. And when our agreement was up, our franchise agreement was up, my husband and I started really thinking about what our legacy looked like, you know, going forward. And for us, diversity had always been important, but partnership and alignment with our goals was right up there for us. And so my experience with ERA was definitely, I felt like it was God sent, because I was sitting at a panel on a panel at NAREB during their national convention. And I happened to be on that panel with Doug Lucas, and we just connected. And if anybody who knows Doug Lucas knows that once he has his paws on you, he is not letting you go. But we had some amazing conversations. We had 25,000 questions. And the reason was because we didn't know if we wanted to be affiliated with another franchise. But after meeting everyone at ERA, after meeting, I got a chance to meet with you, Sue, as well, and just all of the leaders. I realized that there was such alignment with the things that we wanted to do. We felt that it was a partnership. We felt that we were going to be part of this 800-pound gorilla that was going to back us up, all of which is true till today. I can't say enough for the amount of support that we've received over the last 2 years. And even though we've only been affiliated a couple of years, it feels like we've been here a lifetime already. There's such a difference and a very elevated experience in what we're having. It's very elevated, the experience that we have today with Anywhere and ERA. And so just to wrap that up, the biggest decision factors for us was we knew that we were going to be supported. We were getting that support even before we signed the agreement. We knew that we were going to be affiliated with one of the greatest companies in the world. We were ecstatic about that. And just the ability for Anywhere and ERA to be able to think outside of the box to bring us into this family is more than I could ever say. So it's been a great journey, and we're really excited. But just to answer that question, it was alignment, partnership, and the diversity we were actually looking for as well.
Thank you for that. And I'm going to jump over to Amy, and I'm hoping that everybody's hearing a little bit of the same theme I am, which is the support, the alignment, just the ability to have something bigger and someone bigger than yourselves from which you can gain support, a network to connect with, one who, we're in the business as well as running brokerages, not just franchise. But I think the important lesson is at any stage in that, whether it's launching your own business, whether it's growing your own business, stepping out on your own, or switching or something, there's always a need and an opportunity for that assistance from someone, that support, that guidance, no matter what, to take it to the next level, whatever that next level is. And I think that goes for whether you're a business owner, whether you're a leader of leaders, or whether you're, an agent looking to start your team, or a team looking to start your business, or whatever that may be. There's such criticality in that, and feeling that alignment and that support from whomever you are looking to associate yourself with, as well as the power of a company that, does have strong ethics, and, 13 or 14 years running with our world's most ethical companies, and just really staying true to those principles that we try and pass on and down and around. So that's awesome. So Amy, how are you today?
I am good. Can you hear me well?
I'd love
Right.
to ask you, one, to weigh in on anything we've already talked about, if you have anything to add, but I was going to specifically ask you, can you think about a pivotal moment in your career that you truly felt that you were breaking new ground as a woman business owner? And what was that? And what did it mean to you? And just share that a little bit with everyone.
Absolutely. First, thank you. And these other women, I wish I could stay on with you guys for a few more hours, because this is what powers me, what takes me, through the rest of my day. So that's a really great part of this, is getting to listen to these women on this panel. I am Amy Hummer. I'm with Better Homes and Gardens Real Estate in Las Cruces, New Mexico. And my big aha came through the Ascend process, actually, which is, the executive leadership program that Anywhere provides. I think that I have a unique journey in brokerage ownership. My husband and I in 2006 bought our brokerage. It was a 35-year-old brokerage. And we didn't want to leave this town we love so much. We knew our careers were about to move us, and we said, what's going to keep us here? And he wanted to go buy a real estate brokerage. And guess what? Neither one of us even had a real estate license. And so very different than a lot of people's journeys. But we had strong business backgrounds, and we were excited about it. Didn't know if I really, I thought we had a great marriage, and I'm like, oh, should we be working together? And so we do this, and we both found our own lanes within the brokerage very quickly, and it worked really, really well. But flash forward, and my husband went to develop another business and came in one day and said, really, I want to run that business now, and I think you take over the reins. And I was like, sure, I'm good. I think what happened, though, in that process, and where my big aha came from, was that I thought I had to be me and I had to be him. And I had to have that. He had some amazing skill sets. I have really strong skill sets. And I thought I had to be all of that as the woman leader of this brokerage. And I went through Ascend, and I had lots of little ahas. And then I had this huge aha that hit me. And that was, I don't have to have all of that. What I have to do is I have to be a strong leader of this organization and identify where the gaps are. And I need to fill those gaps. And that was the most freeing thing that ever happened to me as the leader of this brokerage and as a woman, was that he was exceptional at business development and talent attraction. And I put that entire burden on me, thinking that that's what I had to be exceptional at it too. So as a result of Ascend, I kind of stepped back. I decided I was going to hire someone into that role, fill that gap within our brokerage. What eventually came out was 2.5, 3 years later, I actually sold half the brokerage. and just someone who is exceptional in those areas. So I actually created what will eventually become my succession plan as part of that. So I think that the big takeaway from that is you got to have confidence in yourself, but you've got to realize you can't be everything to everybody, and you've got to really do some soul searching and find where those gaps are, and then find the right person to fill in those gaps. And so you talk about Anywhere. I'll tell you, one of the reasons I went with Better Homes and Gardens is because of the Ascend process. I heard about it. I wanted to be a part of that program, and that was one of the things that drew me into Anywhere and their company.
That's fantastic. And I love that leadership lesson of, find what you're good at and fill in the gaps around you, and find your own style, right? You can't do it in somebody else's likeness. You have to be, your authentic leader, and, bolster around you those that are better at the things you're not great at. Fill the gaps.
Absolutely. And
Yeah,
you find a lot more joy in your what you do every day leading when you have that partnership, or you have those people surrounding you. It's a whole new ball game now to walk in the door every day, because I know that we're helping our realtors build better businesses in a much better environment because of that.
That's awesome. Does anybody else on the phone have any of our guests have a Jamila or anybody, a pivotal moment when you felt you were breaking ground as a woman leader?
Excuse me, Amy, first of all, I love Ascend. My first year as a broker owner with ERA was the first thing I did was sign up for Ascend and prayed that I was going to get accepted. And I did, and it was life-changing. There are a lot of things that I did not know, and there are a lot of things that Ascend revealed to me as a leader, but also as an executive. It is, and it's still probably the best moment in my career as a broker owner. I just volumes. But a story came to mind, when Amy was speaking. I remember while we were, during our process, we decided to acquire another brokerage. And it's very interesting in our industry. We always attract people who look like us. I think Candace mentioned it earlier, and it's always a barrier, especially because most people just want to work with people who look like you, and there's nothing absolutely wrong with that. But we really set out to build a brokerage, regardless of what folks looked like, sounded like, and the whole nine. But I remember taking on this challenge to acquire this brokerage where nobody in that brokerage looked like me or my husband, or looked like me at all. As a matter of fact, when we walked into our first meeting, I realized that I felt like, oh my gosh, we have made the worst mistake ever. This culture is going to kill everything we ever worked for. But what was pivotal to me was, after getting to know the agents in that office and really merging, the fact that they received me as a leader and was able to take instruction. They were able to get their production up. Some even doubled and tripled their production, and really saw it as the best place that they needed to be for their career. I felt that was pivotal for me as a leader, and especially as a woman-owned brokerage, because it wasn't then about my gender or my color. It was about leadership and being able to take these amazing folks and get them to where they want to be. And I just remember thinking about that, just sitting in the office. It was 8:00 at night, and I felt like I wanted to cry, because I felt like this is seamless, but it's not, because of all of the challenges that people said you would have to overcome. I overcame them, but it was because, it was like a dream come true, understanding that I'm running a business. It's becoming an enterprise, and it's not just because I'm a woman.
I love that. I love it. I love it. So Sarah, let me switch gears a little bit. I'd love to know, and I'm sure everyone would, because it's something we're often asked as leaders, what role has mentorship played in your career?
I love that question. Probably about 17 years ago when I had my daughter, I looked at my husband one night and I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing. And I really didn't, no slam to my family, but I really didn't have a good mentor and he really didn't either. And I really didn't know how to work-life balance. And I didn't even really know how to parent. And I was just totally lost. And it was kind of the first time that I'd owned a business for several years at that point. And I was like, man, I really have no leader in front of me. I really don't know what I'm doing at all. And so I remember at that moment, our house that we lived in was kind of close to another house. And I looked out the window and I could see my next door neighbors in their kitchen. And they were older and retired and kind of became surrogate grandparents to my kids and just really, really sweet people. And I loved the way that they were married and I loved the way that they parented and grandparented. And I was like, man, I would love to be like Bruce and Jane one day, like I just think they're really living a really good retired life. And it was kind of through that I realized that for me personally, mentorship was coming in moments and through kind of a variety of people and situations. It was never through one specific human. I mean, I think that's amazing and wonderful if you have one specific person who you really look up to and who mentored you and brought you along, but that just wasn't my journey. And when I think back to the last 20 years and in my current life right now, I think my mentorship comes in moments. So it could be a business person in this community who I seek advice and who kind of takes me under his or her wing through that particular situation. And or sometimes an agent in my office, oftentimes an agent in my office will give me a beautiful moment of clarity or a really good idea. And maybe they provide a kind of a mentorship to me in a conversation where maybe I thought I was mentoring them. And so I just feel like just keeping eyes open to the little moments through your career and through life about ways all kinds of different people can influence and positively impact and provide a guidance or a mentorship has really been my journey. And I'm really appreciative to have the network that I have, both personally and professionally, in my town and in this world, and really honestly, a huge part to me of wanting to join Corcoran, which we've been affiliated for like 2 years this week, was because I was seeking kind of a higher level of talking to people. And one thing that I said over and over again is I'm not going to get smarter talking to people in Athens, Georgia. Like I have to talk to people outside of my community. I have to realize that this world is not centered around the 140,000 people that are in my town. I mean, I really need to be able to network and talk to people all across the nation to really have a broader, better perspective. And so I've found mentorship in the broker network that I have, which has been just really amazing to be able to pick up the phone and talk to people who have been ahead of you, who have done things already. I mean, just to bounce ideas. So that's been a really beautiful part of leadership for me too, is this broker network.
I love that, Sarah, and lots of love in the chat for the moments of mentorship. I think sometimes we all strive for like that perfect structure, but maybe we need to be more open to the everyday types of things. And that is one of the best benefits to me, and I hear about it constantly, is the access to individuals across the country that both expand your perspectives as a broker owner in the industry, but also give you the ability to talk to somebody that's going through the same thing that may not be your, across the street competitor that you're, at like an event with or something. And just to have that shared experience is so awesome. So Jacqueline, to you, the same question. What role has mentorship played in your professional and personal growth? Oh, you're on mute again.
Okay, thank you so much. And you know, that question is really an interesting question because honestly, the concept of a particular women-owned brokerage really hits home with me with regard to my mentorship. Because when I entered the real estate business in the 90s, as a starry-eyed salesperson, I joined a brokerage that was in the heart of Coral Gables, very beautiful office called Pratt's and Associates. And that broker was my first mentor, who I still look up to today. Her name is Georgina Pratt's, and she herself is and was, she's no longer working, but she was a Cuban female broker, as myself, with a magnificent office and the vibe of family and team spirit and teamwork was really what I learned. I learned this teamwork vibe, family type of structure. So she taught me so much that right now, totally, as I see myself in this business as a leader in the industry, the reason I think that I've come out with a lot of confidence and have flourished as I am today was because that mentor, being a single female, a Cuban single female with 4 children, beautiful family. She had over 400 agents in her office and it ran beautifully. And I was looking at that and I often look back and say, man, I've learned so much from her and from her brokerage and how she put it together that today in my brokerage, I am consistent with teamwork, with everybody help everybody. Nobody's better than anybody. Listen, all gas, no brakes. Let's have fun while getting this done. And let me tell you, it was a learning experience that has stayed with me forever because there was a lot of, I want to say love in there, but she really cared for everybody. She really wanted everybody to learn. And like that, she paid it forward, right? So walking in her footsteps today was my mission was to teach others, to show and to see what I've learned, because who am I? I'm nothing, right? I'm nothing. I'm just the garnish here, guys. I'm here to help you. I'm here to make you the powerful realtor that I know that you all can be, right? My style is really energized. Yeah, that is true, but I really care. And I found mentors at Anywhere, Kate Conquest, Jennifer Krause, Sally Knoll, Ruth Rivera, all these leaders, Wendy, all these leaders were so amazing to me in the beginning of my career with Coldwell Banker in 2015 that it gave me the confidence to open up this brokerage. And although, like I said, I was scared, I was ready. I was ready to mentor them. I was ready to care about them. And I was ready to have fun while getting it done. That's it, pretty much.
I am obsessed with have fun while getting it done. Anybody else like new? That is my new hashtag. That is my new mantra. I love it. It's going to be the new Anywhere way. It kind of is the Anywhere way. We do have a lot of fun and man, do we get a lot done. I'm so proud of our team. So that is so awesome. And yes, Jennifer McGuire, we are going to have a virtual pep rally with Jacqueline every morning. This is how we're starting our day from now on. And love the shout out to some of the team members. So Candace, I'm going to go over to you. And while, of course, please feel free to weigh in on anything I've asked the others. But I was also super curious. And again, you're probably asked this frequently. How do you approach work-life balance? And, any tips for anybody on maintaining sort of your self-care and well-being while driving your business growth?
Absolutely. And Sue, I can say this week alone, because I found out I had the flu this week. I had to rely on that work-life balance. And I don't think I opened my laptop for 2 days to get that rest, right? And so I had to be okay with leaning on the people that God placed in my life to help me. And I had to be okay with asking for the help. And as my business grew, so I started off as a solo agent and my business started growing, it started taking off. It was around the time my mother retired from her job. And I said, Mom, I think we'll be a great team. Can you help me? And she said, yes, I can. And so she got her real estate license and we became a team. And then my husband joined us. And then we just kept growing from there. So I had to trust myself to trust the people in my life, and they showed up for me. And I had to be okay also with understanding that I could not do it all by myself. Although a lot of us may be high achievers, right? So we probably like to be in control and like to try to do as much as we can for ourselves. It's okay to ask for help. And guess what? There are people in your lives that are ready, willing, able, and excited to help you. I see them show up for me day in and day out. Even my husband, I'm using his MacBook today because I said, oh my, I don't have Teams on my Windows. So he just came down. I said, can you help me, sweetie? And he was ready to help me with excitement. So we have to be okay with asking for help when it comes to the actual balance. So typically speaking, when we think of balance, we think of an even distribution of weight between opposing sides, right? So I'm not sure if I can actually say there is balance per se. I really like to say there's harmony because there may be times when I have to have more focus on my family. For example, last year, we had a lot going on. Some people may say life was throwing lemonades at us. Just a lot going on in my family. More so.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, can you all hear me?
Now we can. Yep, we lost you for a second.
Sorry about that. So I had to be very present when those lemonades started going. Some people may say life was lifing, right? So I had to focus on my family, put my focus there, and the work part was fulfilled by the partners that I have to help me. I'm even still in production, so I had people helping show houses for me, helping work with my clients. So I actually looked up the definition um, of balance with Merriam-Webster Dictionary. One of the definitions is mental and emotional steadiness. Mental and emotional steadiness. And looking at that definition, we have to be sure we're taking care of ourselves. We cannot pour from an empty cup. So let's fill our cups. And I am all about filling my cup so that way I can be that mentor, be that help, be whatever I can be, the wife, the mom, whatever God wants me to be and what He's called me to be. I want to be that person. And so that's how I achieve my work-life balance.
I love that work-life harmony. Amy, same question to you on work-life balance, maintaining well-being. How do you approach that?
Well, first, Candace, awesome response to that. And that you went and looked up. I love that definition, right? I think it says so much. You know, when I was thinking about this question and how it applied to me, first of all, you know, I've raised my kids. They're now out of the house. So all of you guys on here that still have, you know, the kids at home and you've still trying to manage, you know, the soccer practices and the meals and all those kinds of things, man, I raise my hands to you guys because I know what that's like, and I applaud you. For me, I think that work-life balance it's personal to each person, and I think that it has changed for me over the years. When we first bought the brokerage, I think work-life balance was a whole different definition to me than I have now. I think that Candace brought up a lot of the things that come to my mind. First of all, now in my life, the rule is be present in the moment. And so if I'm at work, then I am at work. When I am sitting with one of our agents in the office and I get to help work with them to build a better business, that's where I'm going to be at that very moment. But then when I get home, the phone goes up and I pay attention to my marriage and I am present in that moment. When a son from afar calls me and wants to talk to me, man, that's one of my greatest moments in life when your 25 or 27-year-old son call you. You can be darn assured that that is all I'm focused on at that very moment. And that's where I find a lot of balance in my life. And it certainly makes me better at a lot of those relationships. And then I get off track and I have to put myself back on track. Sometimes that's not an easy process, but that's the first thing that came to my mind. The second is boundaries for me. I was not good at those boundaries over the years. And I'd say in the last 5 to 6 years, I have defined boundaries much better in my life. I kind of describe it as like a muscle. You have to work it, and you have to, every single day, you have to work that muscle to stick with those boundaries. And a lot of those boundaries are emotional boundaries for me, identifying who or what pushes my buttons and making sure that I am emotionally self-aware of that, so that I'm not bringing it to the office and I'm not bringing it into my home life. And that is not easy. And I think it's particularly difficult for women, from the standpoint that our home life and our work life mesh so much. And it's taking that time to define those differences and set those kinds of boundaries. An interesting story is that my coach that I use, I knew, he always asks me at the end of the year, what's your word for the year? And, tell me about your focus for 2024. And I said, I'm going to tell you my word. And I can't believe that I'm at a stage in my life that I'm willing to say this. My word for 2024 is me. And I tell you, 15 years ago, guys, there is no way that word would have come out of my mouth out of fear of what people would say to me, what they'd think of me. But the fact is that, and I'm talking about, physically making sure I am healthy and I'm taking care of me, that I just know that I will have a better company that I can grow. I will have better relationships with my family. My faith will be stronger if I am focused on me in this year. And that does not take away from anybody or anything else in my life. But it was a real, you talk about an aha, that was a real aha moment for me, saying and I've got several stickies. They're all over the place and they're in my house and they're everywhere else. Do not forget how you need to take care of yourself so that you can do all the other things that you want to do. And that has to do with growing the company. I'm so excited about what 2024 has in store for us. And if I'm at my worst, then none of that's going to happen. And so, I think, that's kind of that's my answer to work-life balance. I don't know if you call it a myth. I think you use the word, Candace, harmony. I think that is a great response to that. And I really had never put it in terms of that, but boy, I think that's important. And I just realized Sarah said about her anniversary, March 2020 is when we joined Better Homes and Gardens. And I'm pretty sure it was on March 14th that we launched here in Las Cruces with Better Homes and Gardens. And I had not thought about that. If you think about what 2020 was, Sherry Chris was right here sitting in this office with me on that day when she got the phone call from Anywhere to pack bags and head back because the whole world was shutting down. And I'm like, oh my gosh, 4 years later, look at all of us. We're still going and we're stronger than ever. So I'm glad Sarah brought that up. I got something to go celebrate.
That's amazing. And resilience should be at the top of every one of our lists, just for what we've gone through and what we continue to thrive through, if you will. But I love that, Amy. Like, there's nothing selfish about putting you first, and generally everybody else is better off for it in our lives, for sure. I know that when I carve out time, which I'm not good at doing, for myself, I'm a more patient mom. I'm a more, calm leader. It's a priority that has to be focused on. So I know we are coming up. We have about 10 minutes left. There's some questions. I think I just saw Wendy's hand go up. I do see the questions in the chat. I had one more one for the team, but let's get to the chat. We can see who wants to answer them.
Yeah, and Sue, before we do that, we just have a brief poll, a couple of brief polls actually, that are completely anonymous. The results won't get shared on the screen. We'd love it if everyone attending would respond. It will help us determine how we're doing. So the poll is going to come up, and then we've got some awesome questions in the chat. And if you want, I can find them. There was one that got a lot of love. So once we're done with the poll,
I've got it, Wendy. I've got
okay,
the one that got
great.
a lot of love.
Perfect. Good. Good, good, good. All right. So we'll just submit our poll results.
All right.
I don't think I've ever seen a poll on I'm learning. See?
We are very fancy.
Very fancy. It's fantastic.
All right. So the question that got sort of the most votes, as we would say, is how do you get comfortable with talking about your own accomplishments? I find that it to be the hardest thing, and I feel like there's always a little voice in my head telling me that I sound like I'm bragging. How do you quiet that voice?
Candace, look ready. Go ahead.
Yes, this was very hard. It was a challenge for me because I was always raised, be humble and don't brag yet. And when I say raised, I mean just culturally in where I'm from. But then I had to come to the point and the realization that I worked hard and I deserved the recognition. And if no one else was going to clap or cheer, which I have amazing cheerleaders by my side, but if no one else would do it, I was going to do it for myself because I know literally the time, the sacrifice, the blood, sweat, and tears that I poured into myself and my business every day to get to the next level, to achieve my goals. And so I had to take a look and say, you know what? I can still be humble, but still be grateful and congratulate myself and recognize myself for my accomplishments. But yeah,
love be your own cheerleader. You've earned it, right? And I think that's fantastic. It is it's tough to do sometimes, but very important. Anybody else have any thoughts on that?
Well, if I can chime in, I don't know, maybe I will. Yeah, that question actually, forget about the noise, because it really doesn't matter. You are the only one that matters. As she was saying, me, it's about me. So, sometimes we do things that are not right. Maybe they're wrong, but that's what shapes us. That's what makes us understand where we are today. Surely we must humble ourselves, but a little bit of arrogance isn't bad. You have to kind of understand that you're the broker. People love you. They look up to you. You got a lot of fans. But at the end of the day, we have a mission. We have a mission to train and develop and make this career happen. Otherwise, they die quickly. And, the fact that, that you think you're not leading right or you're not doing the right thing, don't overthink it. Be transparent, be yourself, but and tell them what you got in your heart, in your gut, and in your mind. Sometimes, some people, it's the way you say it, not how you say it, and it may work out. I've got some agents that maybe should not be in real estate right now. You can't fix a personality that doesn't, belong. But, you don't throw them out. You try to work with them and work with them and work with them until somehow it clicks, and it will click, but you can't give up. And we say that all the time. Don't give up. Don't give up. It's very easy to give up. But me, this is my brokerage that I started, and I started it with a lot of sweat and tears too. And I had a lot of noise out there. Oh, she's coming in. She's taking away her agents. Oh, she's going to come. And yeah, well, you know what? That's good that you're scared, because that makes you step it up. Because if you're scared, how much more scared am I? Right? So yeah, I'm the leader, and I want to make sure that I lead with some type of significance, some type of commitment, and some type of arrogance, at least a little bit, okay? And then love everything and love what you do, because for me, my balance is that I love what I do, and that balances me. Because if you don't love this business, guys, I don't know, but I wouldn't be able to do it if I didn't love it. This is my passion every day. I'm not married. Don't plan to get married anytime soon. If there's any takers out there, here I am. But, but I will tell you this. I love my job. I'm married to my job. And no one's going to tell me if I did it right or wrong. Just come and do it. Just do it. And you'll see the magic happen. We're going to trip a lot, but we're going to get up and keep going. And that's what I do. I just get up and keep going. And sometimes I do things that are not normal, or maybe I'm a little bit too excited, but that works for me, guys. And I'm transparent. So that's what I do. That's all I got for
Talk
you.
about authentic leadership to the core. And you know what, Jacqueline, that's amazing. And you do have to be your own champion, and you're leading people and they need to believe in you. And so you need to be able to share your successes. I know Sarah was going to jump in there as well. We are about out of time. So I'm going to start with the last question with Sarah. Specifically, what advice, because I think Jacqueline just gave a little bit of advice, right? Be fearless, just do it. Blood, sweat, tears, get out there, get it done. You got this. But Sarah, what advice would you give to somebody listening in today that may be thinking about taking the leap to their own business?
Well, and Jacqueline is a very tough act to follow. So, but I just, one piece of advice that I'd like to give people is, if you love selling real estate, go sell the hell out of some real estate and enjoy doing that. Because if you want to be a broker, that is a very different business. And I am a selling broker, and I love selling real estate, and I love being a broker, but being a broker for sure detracts and takes away from selling real estate. There is a whole nother job that is being a broker. And so if you want to take that role and responsibility on, just know that it's not just because you're really good at selling real estate. You have to be really good at other things too. I do love the fearless part. I will tell you, if my 23-year-old, 26-year-old self could look back, and I would never, ever, ever have taken the leap if I weren't just dumb and fearless and young and was like, sure, let's do this, sitting in somebody's living room and plotting out on a piece of notebook paper our entire business plan with 2 other women. And I would never have done that if I weren't fearless. And the only thing you can do is just take that leap of faith, trust yourself, but know what you're getting into, because it is a huge responsibility. And to run a company, to run agents, to really understand the whole global picture of your business is more than selling real estate. And so just know what you're doing before you take that leap. But if you feel like that's the leap you want to take, then don't look back. Just be fearless and move on and be confident. At the end of the day, that is the number one thing that you can take with you and be successful, is with your confidence.
Well, listen, we are just up on time, and I've learned a lot. I'm sure the team has. What I love most is your willingness to share and to support others in their journey and their thinking about leadership and the path. A lot of great nuggets in here. You women are amazing. I know I have had the pleasure of getting to know many of you through different aspects and roles that both I've had and you've had. So we've all kind of seen each other grow over time and change in our leadership. But this was amazing. I thank you all. I think that what you've done is fantastic. You are the women that move this industry, and I'm very grateful that you choose to be a part of the Anywhere family. I thank you for that. And I look forward to seeing you all and hearing you all somewhere again soon. And a lot of love and kudos in the chat. So thank you all so much. A huge thank you to the Women's ERG, Wendy and team, and What Moves Her for pulling this together. We were very, very happy to have everyone here. Thank you for participating. Great event, guys. Thank you.
Thank you so much. What a great conversation. Thank you for leading it, sharing your time with us. Panelists, oh my gosh, your energy, your expertise, thank you for bringing it today. We so appreciate you sharing it with our membership. And I just wanted to mention a couple of things before we wrap up. There is a great What Moves Her session coming. You can register at whatmovesher.com/sessions if you want to learn about speaking with confidence. And boy, based on the chat, sounds like that's something that would be of interest to some of those who are here. Also, if you'd like to know about our future events, if you'd like to join the Women's ERG, follow us on Viva Engage. Jen has put the link to it in chat for you. And we have a membership meeting coming up. We do them quarterly on May 7th, but there will also be some great events for Fair Housing Month next month. So join us again. You could also scan the QR code if you want to get to Viva Engage that way. And lastly, I just want to again give a shout out to Christine Hyde. She really did spearhead pulling this all together and organizing it for all of us. So thank you, and have a wonderful rest of the day, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and end the meeting.
Thank you. Bye.